Nice. What are you eating there, Todd? You got some milky cereal or
Hey, what's
soup?
going on? Yeah, I'm eating some soup. I got some soup going. All right.
Nice.
Welcome to the
Welcome.
podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Rap Drugs Pod, the research and psychedelic drug show.
Yeah,
Thanks for
fuck
sticking
yeah.
with us through
From
five
Bong Toke
episodes now.
Productions.
Yeah, Bong
Yeah, yeah.
Productions, rapdrugs.com studios. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thanks for sticking with us through 5 episodes. If you haven't already, subscribe on your podcast directory and YouTube. Follow us on IG and share it with your friends. Get the word out there, guys. But yeah, have you ever noticed
Yeah.
lately, Todd, that Joe Rogan's wearing those Space Force t-shirts, that like baseball tee?
The NASA? I haven't seen a Space Force once, no?
Yeah, recently he seems
I
to
thought
be.
he always wore NASA outfits.
Yeah, he does. I think it's the Netflix like Space Force logo even. It's like got the blue
Oh,
sleeves on the
true.
side. Uh,
Yeah,
but
well, I think
product
you were
placement.
showing me that they got the trademark from U.S. military, so it would have to be Space Force.
Yeah, I guess reaching out around the world, like Netflix has been trying to trademark their show first for merchandise and stuff. And yeah, they got the trademark in a lot of places like a year ahead of the US even filing for it. They had
Yeah.
already filed it. So it's pretty
Yeah.
funny, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that the show's seems to be pretty highly accurate, or at least I don't know about the timelines realistically, but from what it seems like,
Yeah.
reading what the other countries are up to and what the US has been up to for a long time, it seems like
Yeah.
a pretty accurate show for parody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I definitely I definitely could see some of those comedic scenarios actually playing out. Like when they had the what was it, like a paintball shootout to see who
Oh yeah, you had to shoot BBs or airsoft at the
scores.
balloons there. Yeah, and they were fighting over the exosuits.
Yeah, that's definitely how they decide things.
The scientists
Yeah,
controlling all their legs after they get shot. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, beefcake.
I like the I also like the Chinese American beef they had where they were low key competing over like craters on the moon. And they were like, should we just nuke them?
Yeah, that's some good Cold War stuff. We're
Yeah, yeah.
gonna abandon the space treaty. Oh, boo hoo! Set it on fire. But yeah, great all-star cast there. Great all-star cast.
Oh, for sure.
The
Killer
only,
cast.
yeah, the only
Definitely
thing they.
definitely deserves to be a #1 show.
Oh yeah, and the only thing they really got wrong was everyone wasn't bald. Like all the generals weren't bald. If they just made them all bald, they would have matched
They
real.
were okay.
Yeah, would have been good. But
For sure.
but yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
more
funny.
serious. But that would have made for as good a show.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they needed to make it any more serious than it was to get the point across that these guys are a bunch of power hungry dummies.
Clowns.
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
when they try to do good, they fuck everything up because like they forget that at the end of the day, war is human. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. uh, so you wanna talk about some of the experiments we've been looking at for the like what they were doing with back
Back
in
in
the
the
day
day
with before the Space Force?
with the real Space Force, yeah, yeah. I should like kind of after World War II, they kind of had this idea get along with getting like satellites in orbit. They wanted to put up this the US specifically wanted to put up this crazy device. I forget exactly what it was called, but you can find it on YouTube. Like if you just look up like space weapons, it shoots
Yeah.
these tungsten just rods, and like according to scientists, astrophysicists, physicists, the rods, because they're being launched from space and they're tungsten, get so hot and so much force and power behind them from the drop, it ends up being like a sonic boom, and it creates like the
Yeah.
strength of like a nuke. So like in order to wipe
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
other countries' tanks, this was how the US thought like, oh, we can catch up really quickly if we do this. But like that, they found out extremely quickly doing the satellites and stuff, got them 10, if not 20, 30 steps ahead of other countries in warfare, in military.
How so? What do you mean by that? Just like
Like,
their capabilities, like we're
yeah, the
that much more
knowledge.
powerful?
Well, like if you think about it, like Google Earth today is like satellite, like GPS back in the day is like satellite, like, and that stuff, kind of like the battery that'll charge in like a minute or two, like that stuff only existed to the military at one point. So like they
Right.
could probably see like X-ray you from space at this point. Like who knows what the
For
military
sure.
that's declassified and DARPA's
I've
up to.
I've heard some speculation
Yeah,
they can hit people, shoot people with just a fucking high powered laser from a
yeah,
satellite, blow up a tank.
yeah, exactly. They can at least get young girls onto an island to fuck them. So
Yeah. Over there for fucking 40, 50 years.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. That was pretty easy though.
Yeah. Compared to the fucking tungsten shit.
Tungsten
Yeah.
rods and the satellites. But yeah, yeah. Ever since the start of like getting to space, I guess in the Cold War, it's been the U.S.'s goal to have more satellites up than any other country. So like they nearly have as much as Russia and U.S. I mean Russia and China combined, which is like
Right. Oh,
China's almost caught up to Russia, not quite. But then there's
yeah.
India, and everyone's like got this treaty signed back in '67. But yeah, before I get into that, really, uh, like that was basically it. The militarization of space started out of the Cold War with the U.S. and the Soviets both doing their own thing. The U.S. had a lot of pretty awesome Bill Gates-esque ideas, like kicking dust up, shooting a dust rocket at the sun to cool environmental warming. Have you heard of that scheme from Bill Gates, that conspiracy? But it was actually in an article,
Nah,
like
man,
in the
dude. Sorry,
paper.
you cut out.
Oh damn!
Fuck. We're having
My
some technical difficulties there.
yeah, my internet might be a little choppy, but yeah. But anyways, Bill Gates, he wanted to shoot a dust
Yeah.
rocket at the sun to prevent global
Okay.
warming, like create a layer, cool things down.
Yeah.
So that
Well,
kind of idea. What?
I've heard
What's that?
that
Now?
that's well, I've heard they kind of do that sometimes with like the uh geoengineering, or like what they call the chemtrails.
Yeah.
Like chemtrails often are misconstrued, like are with conspiracies and stuff, but what they do is they've launched like aluminum and stuff, like what you're saying, kind of dust clouds to reflect sun rays. Like it's
Nice.
called like geoengineering. If you look that up,
Nice. But yeah, they do it in the
they
atmosphere, right?
they fly planes, yeah, and just drop it in the atmosphere. You're saying they were Bill Gates wanted to launch it right into space so that it would
Yeah.
orbit around the Earth.
It was like
Yeah.
something like that, or at the sun, something extra crazy, bigger than they've ever done before, and they had no idea what it would do. So pretty cool stuff. But it remind like when I read this Project A119, aka Study of Lunar Research Flights, it reminded me exactly of it. So it was
Yeah.
like a top secret plan from the late 1950s by the Air Force, which ended up running the Space Command up until 2019. And they've even decided, just like the show, who's in charge of Space Force. That was kind of Department of Defense and the Air Force together. And of course, the Air Force wants the Space Command back, but I think they kind of control them for the most part.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get into the NRO and who actually controls it all. But top secret plan in 1958, the aim was to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon. So
Yeah.
that's where you get like the knucklehead persona of these Air Force guys wanting to do space stuff.
Yeah, genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
because it's going to be a bright light that everyone
Yeah.
will see on Earth.
think-
Hardly visible.
You think they have like a genius plan or something maybe for trying to do that, but no, they just want to scare the shit out of everyone else.
Yeah, the also for scientific purposes, it would help in answering some of the mysteries in planetary astronomy and astrology.
Yeah. Okay.
Astrogeology, sorry. So they'd see what like blowing up the moon does to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, really cool friggin' villain plans, Jeffrey Epstein style plans already from the US military Space Force. But yeah, the project was never carried out because like they must have had like a Mad Men focus group.
And
a bunch of people
when was
were
this?
like,
Like
yeah,
the
that doesn't
60s?
sound cool. In 1958, yeah. The existence of the
58.
project
Okay.
was revealed only in 2000 by a former executive of NASA
Oh.
who led the project in 1958.
Fuck. That was
But
some
yeah,
top secret shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they keep that shit under wraps for like what, 50 years? I think is the.
Well, the U.S. government has never officially recognized its involvement, so
Oh, really?
it's that's actually one
Hmm.
that's gone on longer than the 50 years of declassified top secret stuff. So
Right. Yeah, because they can choose to extend that.
yeah, but yeah, a similar idea had been put forward by Edward Teller, the father of the H bomb, who in February 57
Okay.
proposed the detonation of nuclear devices both on some distance from the lunar surface to analyze the effects of the explosion. So he wanted to do it on the moon and like in the air above the moon. When they already blew up like
Yeah.
Japan, like rip. Check out the last episode if you want to hear more about this Japan crazy Cold War stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for
it
sure.
ended up getting canceled in 1959 because of like the nuclear fallout and everything. But
Right.
there was evidence of a Soviet project as well in the late 2010s. What does it say
They
here?
wanted to do the same thing?
Yeah, the official Soviet plan similarly differs from the scenario reported in the press. It was a series of proposals under codename E. E1 entailed plans to reach the moon, while E2 and E3 planned to probe around the far side of the moon. E4 was to be a nuclear strike on the moon as a display of force. So, like, I don't know what they planned on, like, just like launching a nuke and it taking months to get there, or if they were gonna like bring a nuke to the moon and just blow the guys up who were on the moon. But that would be cool to find out more. Hopefully more does come out on that stuff. But yeah, people say that kind of led to the like partial nuclear test ban treaty and eventually the outer space treaty. But there has been some explosions in space more recently. It's becoming more common again.
Yeah. Yeah, countries doing it. The five security council countries, okay to do what the fuck they want, but
Yeah, yeah,
everybody says
exactly. If you're not paying to be in NORAD, you can't have any fun in space with us legally. Oh, damn. I lost you, Todd. All right. So after like everyone lost all of their money there in 2008, 2009, the Lunar Crater Observation Sensing Satellite, LCROSS, had a mission for non-nuclear means to use a much lower impact energy, uh, detonating a smallish nuclear device. 1.7 kilotons of TNT on the moon. So they brought back this idea. It was launched in 2009 and released a Centaur kinetic energy impactor with a 2305 kilograms or 5,000 pounds and an impact velocity of 9,000 kilometers or 56 or sorry, yeah, 5,600 miles per hour. So
Holy.
yeah, so the L cross would have to find water. Uh, would find The question of whether L cross would find water have been stated to be influential regarding whether the United States government pursues creating a moon base. And then on November 13, 2009, NASA confirmed that water was detected after the Centaur impacted the crater.
So there's water on the moon? What are you saying?
I I have no idea.
We're not scientists here at the Rap Drugs Pod.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to read more on link on not like it looks like NASA put out an article back in 2009 about L cross impact data indicates water on the
Yeah.
moon. So if NASA says there is there, I trust them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know it's bullshit then. I mean, true.
Yeah. Fuck. There's a reason they shut NASA up. You jackass scientists, right? But yeah, then there was also Project Horizon in 1959. A study determined the feasibility of constructing a scientific military base on the moon. So this was
Yeah.
still, again, like 60 years before Space Force is even mentioned,
Yeah.
which, like
They
you
want to
said,
do
they
pretty
have to
much
do the
what they
top
did on the
secret
show.
research. They
Yeah.
have to do the top secret research for 50 years. Then it starts coming out, and then they formalize everything. Um, but yeah, we know for a fact the U.S. has twice as many satellites as anyone else, so we're ahead of everyone else in this space military stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, so they wanted to do a base on the moon. They projected it would be $6 billion, and that to get 12 soldiers there, they'd be able to do it in 1966.
Yeah.
But yeah, never passed the feasibility stage, and it was rejected by Eisenhower. But some people dispute that, I've heard.
Well, I mean, I would like to pose the question, if they didn't do it, why are these still classified? Right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Are they is there more to this? They might not have did exactly that, but maybe they did something similar. Maybe they got one guy. Huh?
yeah. It's crazy to consider that uh, they planned this way back in the 60s, and that NASA's missions in the 90s suggested the presence of lunar ice, but only in
Yeah.
like 2009 did they discover water on the soil. It's very slowly and very timely for how everything works,
Yeah.
military wise, but scientists definitely could debunk whatever we're saying.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe. Some people would say that the Space Force is just the government uh declassifying what they've been doing this, but
yeah,
that can be disputed.
yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
Space Force hired scientists could debunk that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Which would probably just be DIA agents posing as them, anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know anything about the DIA, yeah. But also around the time of the 1958, the Air Force, which ran the Space Command again, they were almost competing against NASA and the Apollo program. They wanted to do like create a 21 person underground Air Force base by 1968. So they wanted to get feet on the moon by 1961.
Yeah.
So like yeah, they plan to do like an orbital rendezvous maneuver, like a slingshot kind of
Okay.
thing. Like I don't know if you've ever seen those crazy ideas, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's just the only way you can really like launch things in space or get them moving.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it seems to be an interesting thing, which led me further to read more about like I guess kind of the later episodes of Space Force, not to give anything away, but like moon base wise, for the other countries, it doesn't really show everything, all the countries that are involved in the space activities right now. We know, like you were saying, Todd, India's blown up satellites as of
Yeah.
2019.
What one
China has,
thing I want to say
what's that?
one thing I want to say about India is I don't know if you've read into this at all, but from what I understand, their space industry is actually mostly private. I don't know about their militarized, like what you're saying with the blowing up space or their satellites and stuff, but a lot of their like their version of NASA trying to get to the moon and stuff is
Yeah,
a private industry.
yeah. That missile shooting the satellite down might have just been the cheapest way to get it out of the air.
For sure.
But and because no offense to anybody, but uh, uh, but yeah, the Russian military, they just use robots now, and they want to build a robotic base on the moon in the 2030s. So they just use like lunar landers and robots and shit to explore the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're kind of keeping people out of the equation because they'd have to kill them when they got back and told them everything about about
They
it.
found out too much.
Yeah, exactly. Once they saw the friggin' U.S. City set up on the moon, they'd have to kill the people there. Oh man. But yeah. So that's the Luna Globe plan. And then there's also the Jaxa moon base, and this is an interesting one, which I'm shocking nobody saw it earlier, but in October 18, 2017, Japanese discovered a tunnel under the surface of the moon, and said that in a press release. The tunnel seems to be suitable for a location for a base of operations for peaceful crewed space missions, according to Jaxa, which is like the Japanese NASA. And then the other one, the Chinese, but for they want to do a lunar research station near the moon's south pole, expected to launch in 2027. Will verify the utilization and development of natural resources, may include a lander, a rover, a flying detector, as well as a 3D printing experiment using ISRU, in situ resource utilization, to test build a structure, and also transport a small sealed ecosystem experiment. It will test technology necessary to the construction of a lunar science base. So really, they're not building any bases, or anyone will probably building a base feasibly on the moon anytime soon, but it's a pretty cool and a funny idea, and a lot of money being wasted, which is funny too.
Yeah.
Or always funny. Here, one more
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, after all that fun stuff, I don't know too much about what Russia did exactly after that, but as for the U.S. space wise, they kind of started setting up bases and facilities, like a safeguard complex in North Dakota, which for intercontinental ballistic missiles, and then some anti-ballistic missile facilities. So some pretty interesting stuff there, because those are kind of missiles that are space to ground ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were supposedly defense only kind of areas. But yeah, Ronald Reagan proposed the Strategic Defense Initiative, a space-based system to protect the United States from attack by strategic nuclear missiles, in 1983. And yeah, it was ridiculed and joked around. Dr. Carol Rosin nicknamed the policy Star Wars, after the policy that was popular at the time. So yeah, the reason why they it wasn't a good idea was that the Soviet Union only had to build more missiles so they could just build more missiles and spend their money on that, while the U.S. spent their money on the Strategic Defense Initiative, and that would kind of make everything be shitty
Yeah.
in the long run, because it build up all the weapons. But yeah,
Right.
the US's idea was that they'd be able to spend the money, and the communist leaders would be forced to shift to spending to compete. And otherwise, they'd have to watch their nuclear stockpiles end up being rendered useless, which technically, was from the treaties there. But then in 1985 is when they ended up finally creating a United States Space Command. And that has been super important, that for the development of like NORAD, and also a lot further to that, winning in
You
the
want
Gulf
to
War.
explain more what NORAD is?
So yeah, NORAD is like the North American Aerospace Defense Command. It's a U.S., Canadian, and European Union, I guess,
Right.
kind of like the allies today.
Okay.
So yeah, it's I guess what the forefront of protecting the
Space.
airways has been, and so aerospace, kind of anything below orbit.
So it's like the NATO Space Force?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Okay.
exactly similar to NATO,
Right. Okay.
just more whatever's above NATO. The same way the
Right.
Department of Defense is above all the military things.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what that is. But yeah, the reason why the military space stuff has been so important, and like NORAD has kind of been in charge of that, is the satellite capabilities. Like, so that's what allowed the U.S. to be so far advanced in the Gulf War. That, and potentially MK Ultra type experiment, chemical warfare, Agent
Yeah.
Orange, that ended up hurting a lot of their own soldiers, which
Right.
from a lot of the MK Ultra studies, they really don't care about that, because they even test these chemicals on their scientists and top guys.
Yeah.
To
You want to
keep
hear
it
one of the
secret.
one of the craziest ones I read was
Yeah.
actually during the Manhattan Project. They were
Yeah.
injecting some of these scientists with versions of plutonium. See what happened.
Nice. That's dope. That's dope. I would do it if they paid me enough money.
Yeah. I bet that fucks you up. Oh.
Yeah, probably. But are you gonna live forever anyways?
Yeah.
Like, if you smoke, you might as well inject plutonium. Like,
Same thing.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was all good, and then for, like you said, Todd, the space exploration kind of consolidated. There's been a lot of different satellites put out there by a lot of different countries. Even last month, Iran put a satellite out. So
Yeah. It was made
yeah.
of wood, probably.
yeah, most likely. But yeah,
Most likely.
so that's something to keep an eye on too, and might be another reason why the Space Force is being pushed so heavily. But yeah, like, for example, the space warfare. Technically, there's a treaties against it, but there was a Russian Space Force established in August 1992, which was an
Okay.
independent section of the military in 2001. So like, they kind of separated that early.
Yeah.
And so that was for show, as we know with the US, so their strength is silence, like now. And like, there was this one thing they voted on to do with the outer space treaties. Only Israel and US were absent in the voting.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird. Good connection there.
Yeah.
But yeah, only a few incidents of space warfare have occurred in world history, and all were training missions as opposed to actions opposing the forces. in the mid 1980s, a USAF, so Air Force pilot, in an
Yeah.
F-15 successfully shot down the P-78-1 communication satellite. So that was the first test they did in the mid 1980s. So
They
we
shot
know,
down their own satellite.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we know from that too, the Air Force wants to control the budget, just like the show has. Like they don't want to give up any of their budget because it's billions of dollars.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
gonna be $15 billion in
That
2021. Of the
that's
Air
what all
Force's
this
budget.
shit's about. Every experiment they do is just about having the money. You get more money from the government if you have more experiments you're working on, or
Yeah, and
more
you
things
team
you're
up
dealing with.
with iRobot there, the MIT and defense contractor ran company, and
Yeah.
like it's no different than the Chinese companies. It's just in China, it's like every single industry is like the like a
Yeah.
phone company is also a military, and
Yeah.
the Viagra company is also the military.
Children's toys are militarized, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's why there's lead paint in all the children's toys. But yeah, speaking of China, in 2007, so like I guess almost 30 years after the US, they used a missile system to destroy one of its own obsolete satellites.
Nice.
And then 2008, the United States did the same kind of thing, just to respond and say, "Hey, we can do that already. The airplane guy wasn't just the only thing we can do." And then in
So
2019, India responded.
yeah, a little late.
Yeah, exactly. But like, they kind of were like fashionably late though. It like
Yeah.
wasn't a decade later; it was 11 years later. Like they're like maybe people will forget. But yeah, supposedly you're not allowed to install weapons in space. That's why they've only been able to shoot missiles and fly planes and stuff to this point.
Okay.
But you've actually told me otherwise.
Oh, was I? You want
For
me to say
argument's sake. Anyways,
what's that?
that Chinese sort of weapon, so to speak,
Oh, yeah. Well,
or
that was something I read.
defense thing.
That was something I read in. It was probably like CBC or something like that. But they were able to get away with it not being a weapon because it was like an arm.
Yeah.
It was literally just a robotic arm. But what they did was they blew up one of their own satellites, like they were doing with the missiles and stuff. And they did it by just, if you can get something moving fast enough, like you were saying with the tungsten rod, and when it makes contact at a high enough velocity, the impact creates like an explosion. Like you were saying, it's almost the power of like a nuclear bomb. Like,
Sick.
so the Chinese were doing this with their arm satellite. The arm could just move so fast, the satellite will literally just explode like a bomb.
Yeah, there's no friction, so like as long as you can get that thrust, you can. There's nothing to really slow it down.
Yeah, exactly. There's no air. Just
There's
a
no
void.
sound barrier even.
Yeah. They call it a kinetic blow if you want to look it up. That's, I think, the official scientific term is a kinetic blow.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what the US did on the moon too there to find water.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the like we were saying, the 2021 budget requests 1.6 billion for 3 national security space launch vehicles out of the 15 billion. So 1 billion of this budget will fund 3 launches. The United States Space Force is reported to be working closely with commercial leaders in the space domain, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, to determine their capability in serving the mission. So the corporate state.
Yeah.
We got our boy Elon, who somehow Tesla couldn't hit 420, but now it's crossing 1,000 on the stock price. And I hope all of you shorted your stocks, had that ready for today, got caught on that huge downside, 5%.
What's that? What happened?
S&P 500 went down 5% today, but But yeah, but Elon Musk last year, right? He was saying like stock price is going to hit 420 as a joke,
Okay. Yeah.
and it didn't. Now it's hitting 1,000. Like
Okay.
so,
It
so
went up instead of down. Is that what you're saying?
it well, it people were like questioning it being 420, and he was questioning it being 420. Like that was a target, and
Oh, okay.
it's more than doubled in the last year,
Right.
and the world is collapsing as we speak. The oil price is zero. Well, it's bounced back up now, but I think it's going to be a long time before Tesla makes all the money. But SpaceX has some big contracts going, and Amazon, if they can't make their money off retail, they're going to make a lot off their web service in Blue Origin.
Right.
Like Lieutenant General David Thompson, already in contract talks with Blue Origin. Um, so yeah, we know like these U.S. contracts go to a very few limited amount of companies: Microsoft, Google, Blue Origin, SpaceX. Some of these companies work with China as well, Google specifically. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's pretty odd at the end of the day, but at the same time, like all this GPS and stuff has been created by industry as well. Like
Right.
it's always been a trick of the trade, and having contractors do these assassinations, and it's like plausible deniability kind of situation.
Exactly.
And at the same time, like we're saying now with the top secret stuff, the government's kind of realized that with IP, they can protect these military secrets. So,
Okay.
uh, like I legally couldn't tell you trade secrets of a company, but the
Yeah.
military has to eventually release top secret information through
Yeah.
the Freedoms of Information Act.
Well,
So
they're
like they
supposed
use
to.
the same laws that they're supposed to uphold against us now. But
Yeah.
yeah, like you're saying, they're supposed to. They have traditionally in the past. It's hard to do it now.
Except when the CIA decides to destroy all the documents. That's the only time they don't have
Yeah, exactly. When you burn everything,
to.
that's the best way to kind of do it, right?
Yeah.
White House fires and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which happened long time ago too. We know. But yeah, well, I'm not going to get into George Washington being a Freemason though. We'll save that for another episode.
Whoa. Whoa.
But yeah, for some different controversies, like the NRO, one of the five intelligence agencies there, the National Reconnaissance Office. So they've been in charge of like boosting all the satellites and stuff for so long. They've been the bipartisan connection between the intelligence community and the army. Um, so they have a hybrid of uh, NRO, Air Force, Army, CIA, NGA, NSA, Navy personnel. So it's pretty interesting organization. Uh, you can check them out on Wikipedia. There's like decent amount of information right there. That's where I read up a lot on them. Kind of weird. The first photo reconnaissance satellite program was the Corona program. That's weird. Which was declassified February 1995, existed from August 1960 to 1972. Although the first test flight occurred February 1959. So yeah, that's kind of their popular thing, and it's been talked about in popular media because yeah, that's what Google Maps is today. That same technology. So yeah, the existence of the NRO first started in 1971. So it was a top secret organization before the 70s. Like no one knew about them.
Yeah. So they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And it was first acknowledged by the Senate Committee report in 1973. The New York Times dropped an article in 1985. So like we saw with Jeffrey Epstein, there was kind of that 12, even with the news reading the articles, there was like that 12-year delay where like, oh, things come to light. now he's getting prosecuted. Oh, you know, so
Yeah.
there was a good delay there, even in the 70s without the internet. Like, so yeah, and then the existence of the NRO was
Yeah.
declassified in '92, which gives it more of like a 20-year timeline. Epstein's death from when like the 2002 thing happened to when he was like choked out. So these things follow a pretty common timeline, which is also weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big
Well,
funding
some
controversy and the reason why they had to declassify him was just that they were hoarding billions of dollars to build new headquarters. 3.8 billion in total they hoarded. Inflation adjusted 2020 6.4 billion. But yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Something about the Epstein thing and it being like 1973 till 1992, so like 19 years.
Oh, I've just heard some people say that the CIA goes by like a 10-year kind of plan. Usually they think people forget things in 10 years.
Yeah, just so that's India's onto that vibe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Nice, nice. So yeah, that's the thing. The NRO, like they put the most satellites up all the time. It's pretty insane. And then Rocket Lab, a private American aerospace manufacturer and small sat launch service with a wholly owned New Zealand subsidiary, they launched a rocket for the NRO. So even that's beginning to be outsourced to corporate state type of
Yeah,
organization. But yeah, there's this
yeah,
really interesting. The reason I've kind of been bringing up Jeffrey Epstein a bit right now, there's this very, very interesting tie here. In 2012, a McClathy investigation. So McClathy is an American published company. I don't know. Found that the NRO was possibly breaching ethical and legal boundaries by encouraging its polygraph examiners to extract personal and private information from Department of Defense personnel during polygraph tests that were limited to counterintelligence issues. So the NRO was investigating even the Department of Defense. So like they might be the deepest kind of intelligence agency there is
yeah.
because
Well,
they're
I've
in
never
charge
heard of
of
them.
all the counter surveillance, counterintelligence, recon kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah,
like the go between all that stuff. But anyways, continuing along those lines there, allegations of abusive polygraph practices were brought forward by former NRO polygraph examiners. In 2014, an Inspector General report concluded the NRO failed to report felony admissions of child sexual abuse to law enforcement authorities. NRO obtained these criminal admissions during polygraph testing, but never forwarded the information to police. NRO's failure to act in public interest by reporting child sexual predators was first made public in 2012 by former NRO polygraph examiners. So, like Edward Snowden, it's only because of whistleblowers that this even comes to light.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a Brian Regan, a civilian employee at the NRO, was carrying coded information about Iraq and Chinese missile sites. He also had addresses of Chinese and Iraq embassies in Switzerland and Austria. Arrested while boarding a flight outside Washington to Zurich, boarding a flight to Zurich, was sentenced to life in prison without parole. This is back in 2001 for offering to sell intelligence secrets to Iraq and China. So, so this guy was either set up or was a double spy back in the day.
Double agent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, the Lockheed Martin was working with the NRO back in the day to build a missile that shot down satellites even. So they had some, again, corporate ties there. I think we all know Lockheed Martin, or should, a big defense company that's been around a really long time.
Yeah, makes a lot of airplanes, military planes.
Exactly, exactly. And the the catastrophic accident during the final launch preparations in Iran in August 30, there was like an explosion August 30, 2019. I guess that came through a recon satellite. That's controlled.
Okay.
So that's basically the NRO is like getting all these directions to be like what's going on in this satellite, that satellite, what's going on here, what's going on there. So like we were saying about the Peruvian Gulf War,
Okay.
they would have been the ones giving access to those systems or controlling that information line, or opening it up. So with the Space Force being developed, I'm sure some of that might be passed along, or Space Force will end up being like the feet on the ground for these NRO. So we could have some pretty interesting,
Yeah.
more like, I guess, things going on. Like the Space Force may not even be in space because a lot of space warfare so far has been space to ground and this recon espionage kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. You need people on the ground to act on these information you're getting from the satellites.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
not gonna be like guys in fucking astronaut suits jumping around with laser guns shooting these fucking satellites. It's gonna be a missile or something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be pretty dope if it was just fucking guys driving around in satellite.
That'd be badass.
But yeah, I think they should start with like the monkeys in space and shit, like dope shit like that.
Yeah.
Shoot some motherfucking monkeys into space. Yeah, but yeah, that's all you can really find on the Space Force and the NRO. I'm sure you could probably find a lot more. I didn't dig too deep. So even with Space Force, I didn't dig too deep because it's just so new. I kind of like looked into the other stuff. I didn't really look into the people behind it. Just was
Yeah.
pretty curious after the whole Netflix thing and seeing the boy Joe wear it. But speaking of Joe, like he's loosened up a lot lately. I feel like since the Spotify deal came through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Andrew Schulz
No.
episode or
I
not.
seen a couple clips. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's a
Uh
good one. About it, the first hour's kind of light, but then they start going heavy on
well, it seems like
conspiracy and
part of that
puppet state
deal
shit.
was he wanted to get more freedom because
Yeah,
YouTube's been cracking down a lot on shit
yeah,
like that. That was
yeah,
one interesting thing that someone brought up, that him doing this has now put value on YouTube content creators, because before they were at the will of YouTube, but now with Spotify trying to start their own video service and bringing on the biggest YouTube podcaster, they've now opened up the market
yeah,
where like YouTube's gonna have to actually pay money to YouTubers to keep them there, so they don't go to Facebook, they don't go to fucking Spotify or all these other places that are trying to mimic YouTube's podcast video model that's kind of going on.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know if Facebook Watch, exactly. That's another competition. IGTV, Vimeo never picked up. Um,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan stopped posting on there a while back. But yeah, that's a good point. But I also think like it's the quality of guests is starting to pick back up again, of course, with the Corona stuff over. But at the same
Right.
time, I think that freedom's important for like not feeling comfortable talking about conspiracy theories, because like that's the thing. Like it shouldn't be a problem to talk about them, even if you are just saying like I don't believe in it. Here's why I don't
Here's
believe in it.
why. Yeah,
But like
exactly.
if you can't talk about 5G or like and coronavirus connection, like that's funny. That's funny
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That's a lot of material you're missing out on. Just because YouTube doesn't want dummies
Yeah.
like
YouTube's
thinking that's
afraid of
real.
fucking advertisers. That's why.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think the podcasting is so easy with Anchor, and then Spotify owns Anchor, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if you've noticed, Spotify makes it real easy to share like stuff too. So you can like share the music right to your Instagram story, and people can click through there. So like they've
Right.
got these really smart like proactive things that way. Uh,
Yeah.
and also I thought the coolest thing, if you, I don't know if you guys like our artwork on YouTube and the Instagram channel, but Spotify lets you bring it through to each episode, whereas Apple kind of just sticks with the main cover art for every episode.
Huh.
Yeah. So
That's interesting.
I like that too, because it gives a different, you get a bit of a feel to the episode. Just you get to see that title, you know.
Right.
Get to see the two guys with the trippy background, you know you're in for a mess, or see a pirate ship or whatever fun stuff you get to check out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it for the
For the Space Force.
what's good on Netflix anyways. I don't think there's
Yeah.
what's hot and popping lately.
On Netflix.
They've been going hard with the content though, the good content.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been watching Sons of Anarchy on there a lot. They dropped just the first season, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
that's true. They changed up a lot of the stuff that they had on there too.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching some other funny stuff. This Black AF show.
What's that called?
Black AF. It's like hashtag Black AF.
Oh, I've seen that. That's a hilarious
Nice.
show.
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
good.
yeah. With
Yeah.
the guy who made Blackish or whatever, and some other shows.
Yeah. Definitely recommend that. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good. But yeah, Space Force I think did a good job on like being a parody, but also really shedding light on the capabilities and the system.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
like it is to a fault like that, like ridiculous overspending, uh military flexing, just trying to keep up with the other countries so they don't get embarrassed with whatever propaganda these other countries are trying to put out to their people.
Yeah.
And yeah, just doing dumb stuff like shooting monkeys into space and having like military people go to space instead of purely just scientists.
Yeah. And considering nuking the moon for no goddamn good reason.
Yeah, exactly. Nuking the moon when they can't even figure out how to get people there.
Yeah. Nuking the moon because the Chinese scientists that are working in the crater next to us told us to get the fuck out.
Yeah. It would look wicked. It would look wicked cool if we could nuke the moon. Do you think all the original like Americans had Boston accents, and like everyone slowly moved away and lost the accent?
Oh, I fucking
Oh man,
hope
it's
so.
wicked hard
That'd
to
be
pull
way
into
better.
this harbor. Like I would think so. Like just because that's the closest thing to a British accent. America, if you ask me, right?
Yeah, I guess it's quite
Yeah.
possible, man. It was
Yeah.
probably even more crazier sounding though back then.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, like more like the up Maine. But if you go up that
Yeah.
East Coast, you just drive up it from like Boston. You get
Yeah.
on a ferry and you go to Newfoundland, and there's the missing link between Boston and the United Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's
Sure.
wicked hard to pull into the harbor. Oh, if you want us to pay some taxes? We'll just ditch our tea. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
fun show. Would recommend for sure. Is there anything else I really want to say about it? They go real cheap on the sets, which makes me think of the actual military. Like it's got like these really dumb expensive finishes, but like other than that, it's just like pure concrete underground bases. And
Yeah.
there's even like a touch of like conspiracy theorist type stuff, like the underneath the Denver airport. That's kind of mentioned, and they're driving through tunnels and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it definitely seems
That's
like they
funny.
did their research. They were ahead of the curve by getting all those trademarks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was
Yeah.
probably the funniest thing.
Yeah, and they did a great job. And if they want a product place on our show, we're a lot cheaper than Joe Rogan. So we've got the number down below, and
Yeah.
or
Yeah, hit
email,
us up.
whatever you guys prefer. Hit us up. Yeah.
I'll
I'd
wear
love-
that Space Force t-shirt the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just send it free. I'll wear it. Anybody
Yeah.
wants to do that with their merch, send it free. We'll decide if we want to wear it. Depends how many people
Yeah.
are watching the show at that point. But this week, we'll wear it for next week's episode. So before
That's for
July,
sure.
we'll
Yeah.
wear it before July. So limited time offer right now.
Limited time.
We'll wear it. So, yeah, we're not sponsored by Polo. Ralph
Yeah.
Lauren's. Sorry. Ralph Lauren
And I'm
can't
not.
afford to be on the show. So it's gonna be a free $65 polo. So I said, "Don't worry about it, boss. I'll wear one for you. I'll throw you a favor this time."
Yeah, I've decided I'm just gonna only wear black, support the rioters, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I got the cap on, yo. Yeah. Black Lives Matter. Yeah. No. So no one cares if we fucking die. So yeah, we're not trying to sell our merch unless. But if we do get any merch sold, we'll donate that couple dollar or two profits to some sort of movement. Like we said before, we're gonna get Tim Hortons for a black guy or something.
Yeah. Yeah. When we get enough money, we're just gonna walk around the Detroit ghetto and hand out cheeseburgers.
Yeah, exactly. Once Corona's over, otherwise we'll just give them like a couple of bucks each.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Would be giving them vegan food a crime or?
Depends who you're asking.
They need the proper macros. Like, I feel like it's like, do you know Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid?
No, that don't sound familiar.
So basically, it's like a bunch of securities you need as a living being, and then you get to this point where you like self-actualize, and that's like where a liberal elite leftist exists. Like in this point where it's like I'm outside of reality, and now I have to survive. I can easily survive, so now I'm in utopia, and I want to be in this idealistic society's world view. So like. I'm not saying that all liberals are like that. I'm saying like that's where the far left kind of idea is. Whereas like the Black Lives Matter, they're completely in reality. It's just like no one other than black people gave a shit before because they're like, oh, I'm gonna lose my job if I go protest.
Yeah.
Like now they don't have a job to lose. Oh, it's cool to riot.
Yeah.
Like now all the companies
sure.
but that's convenient because now all the companies are jumping on board. So now like if you are working for home for Nike, you don't have to worry about like losing your job. But at the same time, like Colin Kaepernick got a job at Nike because of this. Like
yeah.
So we knew some cooler heads were already onto this and trying to fight this, and like ever since like NWA existed, like fuck the police. Like rap music was the initiation of this stuff. Like trying
for
to
sure.
Like especially they might have even tapped people onto the whole CIA, you're getting set up when you're selling drugs thing.
Probably. I mean, the FBI was constantly trying to set them up.
Yeah, exactly. If the DIA wasn't trying to, maybe it was the DIA just pretending.
Just pretending to be FBI agents.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh yeah, could you go into the other room? Well, we talk to each other, and your laptop's on the desk there. And they put meat spin on it and close it halfway. And then when you come back in, they're like, okay, see you later. Don't forget, we're FBI agents.
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh, do you want any water? And they never bring you any water either. Like just like that. Just running the FBI through the mud. The damn DIA.
Yeah. When you ask for water, they bring you crackers.
Yeah, exactly. It's salt water.
Salt water.
They got you good, bitch.
Yeah. That wasn't just salt water. It's got LSD in it too. Ha!
They don't tell you that till like 40 minutes later.
Yeah.
There was no LSD in
There wasn't even.
it.
Yeah, they tell you that after they release you.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, it wasn't LSD. It was friggin' ayahuasca.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh no. One thing on Netflix. I don't know if it was on there before, but I just watched it. Was Shutter Island.
Oh yeah.
So that was crazy. So I don't know if you have you seen it, Todd?
I've seen bits of it. I never ended up watching the whole movie just because it got ruined for me because I walked in on someone watching it. So I'm not totally familiar with the whole thing.
Shit. Yeah. So I won't ruin
Yeah.
the whole story, but
Yeah.
because the first half of the movie basically covers this topic, the MK Ultra stuff.
Right.
And then it goes deep in the second half. So like it's a really good watch. I'd recommend it to anybody. And the ending kind of like it really is like mind blowing depending what side of the coin you're on, and if you are looking at it from all angles, like it's both sad and potentially
Scary.
not sad, potentially scary. But yeah, basically the whole thing is like Nazi experiments, and Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Ruffalo, or I believe that's his co-star, co-detective there, go to the island to explore this missing person kind of thing. And right away, it kind of comes across as like you're in this place where it's mental institutions, and they may or may not be treating these people properly. And
Right.
Leonardo DiCaprio's character immediately starts getting drugged, like because he has a splitting headache, and he has like this cut on his head, like he possibly even had an experiment on his head, because that's talked about in it. And when he goes to talk to this one scientist, he calls him out for being German and talking about him being Nazis, and like that's kind of what the start is
Right.
about. Like this Leonardo DiCaprio character was a soldier who like had to deal with like breaking up a concentration camp, I guess, and that whole thing kind of shook his whole being. So
Okay.
so yeah, I won't get too much further into it, because from there it kind of gets crazier, and if you're paying attention or not, you'll really soak in more of an experience, especially if you really understand MK Ultra and what could be going on. If you take it all at the surface level, still an amazing movie, but like it's so well done when you really know all angles of these
Right.
conspiracy theories. So I think that's probably gonna end it for our catching up on Netflix for the week. There's no real big news that at least that we came across in researching psychedelics.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty of news out there, and we're just lazy. Same reason why Trip Report's not around. We'd rather just watch Netflix and bring you guys 2 pods, double down
Bring
on the
you
content.
conspiracies.
Yeah, exactly. We've been spending too much time on the conspiracies, not enough time on looking up the real shit.
Yeah.
But, we're trying to make sure what we look up is the real shit for conspiracies. So that's the main reason why we pulled back on the Trip Report, to double down on this pod.
Yeah.
Maybe get some clips to you guys too, so we can cut out some of the bullshit and some of the fun stuff we have, in case there is some folks out there who just want to get to the facts. But we'll still leave some jokes in the middle for there. I'm not that good at editing, and we're not going to pay anyone to do in the meantime, unless you want to send us some money.
Yeah. Until the PayPal account starts filling up.
Yeah, exactly. All money in, no money out. Respect to Nipsey Hussle. Black Lives Matter. Blue lives fucking don't. Hashtag that.
Hashtag fuck the police.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Basically every color other than blue and white. Either of those colors, your life does not matter. Yeah. Especially if you're one of those fucking jackass cops who's like, oh yeah, I'm a good cop. I'm on the. Not all cops are bad cops. I'm a good cop. I'm working on from the inside. If there wasn't good cops like me to police all the bad cops, and not quit and not just walk away in protest and not stand up against it like we stood up against that old Antifa man in Buffalo, then how would we ever move ahead as police officers? God, I'm one of the good cops. I make sure I only put ugly people's face in the concrete and step on the necks. If you're beautiful, I'll caress your booty. I'll put you down missionary style. I'll protect that face, baby. If you're ugly as shit, shut the fuck up, bitch. You're going face first into the concrete. So yeah, that's the Long Island, Boston, Baltimore cop.
Yeah.
Who we've got. Don't worry, he's the good guy. He's
the good cop.
He's infiltrating the cops from the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna get rid of all these racist cops one day.
Yeah, exactly. He's not. He said he's not profiling. He's not doing any of the quotas. He's not trying to get a raise. He's not trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
He doesn't want a promotion. He doesn't want any friends at the force, so he's not
right.
He's not turning his cheek or turning his head the other way when they do anything wrong. He's out there whistleblowing on all of them, and best cop. We need more of them. Instead of quitting in protest, we should just have more of them. That's gonna do it. Yeah. That's gonna do it.
Yeah.
All the
how many cops have how many videotapes have come from cops taping each other other cops?
Yeah. Not even their body camera. Like
they shut them off all of a sudden, or their hand comes up and they're holding it like this, and then you can't see all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
I was watching the George Floyd ones. They started redacting a whole bunch of shit in the video. They blacked out a bunch of people in it and cut out information. They didn't used to do that.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. But yeah, exactly. Like, I'm all for people thinking they're infiltrating things, but you're not. You're not. You're not. Even if you're Jeffrey Epstein, you're not.
You're not.
You're not. Are you the Bush family? Because if you're still not, probably.
Yeah.
Are you the Windsor family, the royal family?
Yeah.
You're probably still not. Like, you're probably. Yeah. Are you the Rothschilds? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
You're right. But still, probably not. There's probably someone else who. Those are probably assistants to somebody else who will never know who they are. Like, whoever owns like all these islands where there's no taxes, like. That secret person. But yeah, beyond all that crazy conspiracy, I don't even remember what we were talking about before. I just But yeah, no, the cops definitely, I think if you it's good to have that positive attitude. If you need a job, like, I understand not quitting. You don't have to give these false flags and virtue signaling, though. Like, just put your head down and put in the work. Show us the results. Speaking out to us isn't going to save your job. Like, they're going to defund the police. So, like, suck up to your boss a little. Do what you got to do to keep your job if you're going to stay. But if you're going to leave, now's the time. Like, it's protest against the police. Don't just pretend that and give us your speech in your cop uniform that you're the good guy.
Yeah.
Like, even if you are, you could be. I know there's good cops out there. I'm not trying to knock on good cops. I'm just trying to knock on the virtue signaling.
Yeah.
If you can admit there's bad cops out there and that's what your whole video is just saying, cool. Like, that's awesome. If you're saying you're a good cop and not to be mean to all cops, like, shut up. Like, that's just as bad as the white people saying all lives matter. Like, no, blue lives don't matter right now.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. And this might be totally fucking from the wrong place, but yeah, I don't, because I'm not a cop and I'm not from the States, so I don't know what it's like to feel threatened from the gun.
Yeah.
So, not that I haven't been to different parts of the U.S. and felt completely comfortable, but I'm not an officer of the law, so
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, quit being a preacher, unless you're a fucking preacher. And in that case, like fucking get that Donny Osmond money, baby. Get that fucking no money, baby. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys get to watching the Netflix, get on that Shutter Island, get on that Space Force. Try
Yeah.
not to give away too many spoilers this time like we have in our
In our other ones.
yeah.
In the Good Trip.
Yeah, the Epstein one, and the Good Trip one, like it's all interviews. Like even if you watched ours first, like it's not like those won't be better after.
We can't even begin to go into how deep the people who actually experience these things are.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's like through the grapevine's impossible. And especially with like in the Adventures in Psychedelics, like how good Lewis Black tells his stories, or how good
for sure.
Victoria Robert Guthrie, like the biggest outspoken Epstein victim, tells the stories. And then Maria Farmer in both. If you really want to see a good one, don't bother with Netflix. Check out that Tim Dillon episode with Whitney Webb.
Yeah.
Because that Maria Farmer goes deep there. And you hear about the same thing that's on Wikipedia, her reporting to the FBI in the 90s about Wexner. And that's another thing Andrew Schulz calls out. So I wanted to wrap it up, but just keep on going. Andrew Schulz calls out Epstein doesn't call out Epstein, actually calls out Wexner and Ghislaine Maxwell for being in the center of that artist's picture. And Epstein's off to the side in some like UFO thing, almost like he is like a watchman and a abductor and like a trafficker. So definitely he might be the trafficker scheme, but it seems like there's other people, Ghislaine Maxwell being one of them, highly tied to Robert Maxwell, who mysteriously disappeared at sea.
Yeah.
Intelligence type of people. Like he seems to be a fall guy, a setup for
100%.
These billionaires. And if he ever did a power attorney, it was for plausible deniability, the same way if Tesla's not the US military, it's because they want to be able to deny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll close up the bonus pod now.
Yeah.
So don't forget to rate and review. If you haven't been to the YouTube to subscribe yet, just do it. Tell your friends.
We need some subscriptions. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. So that go on all the podcast directories, subscribe there too.
Yeah. Subscribe to all our shit, even if you don't watch it.
Yeah, download
the likes.
Devices. You don't have to listen to it. Just help us out, dummies.
You dummy. It only takes a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to donate to a good cause without fucking paying a cent? Fucking do that stuff. And any money we make in 2020 going to donations and back into the pod for better shit for you guys, if you tell us. So make sure you send us an email or a text or a call when you support the show, and that way we can send some love and friggin' make sure it goes to whatever you guys want it to. Yeah. So that's what we'd like to. Yeah, comment and share. Mostly share.
Share. Yeah, share shit.
If you don't like it at all, make fun of us and send it to your friends.
Yeah.
And tell them how dumb we are.
Yeah, you can even repost us and say we're a fucking couple idiots.
Yeah,
we're fine. Just get the word out.
Yeah, exactly. Put us in an Instagram story with like two dudes kissing each other in the butt or whatever the heck you want. Something real nasty. Something real nasty. Yeah. Two girls kissing each other's butts, whatever you want. Each other's butts.
Yeah. Jason clearly just wants some people kissing some butts. I don't know what the.
I just want to be associated with some pornographic images on Instagram mostly. But yeah, thanks for listening or watching to the Rap Drugs Pod, and we'll catch you again next week.